Hello, I am back from vacation, but I think I left a little part of me behind in Disney World. That part is my voice. So I am going to try to talk as clearly as possible without coughing on you. By the way, my name is Lauren. Thank you for joining if you're new. If you're returning, you're amazing. Thank you for being a part of my itty bitty community that we reached 1,000 subscribers, which is a real big high point in my time here on YouTube. It just means a lot to me. So thank you if you're subscribed. If you haven't subscribed already, it would mean the world to me if you did. Today, again, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna struggle through this because I have had no voice for the past week. And it finally came back and I was like, I just want to review something. Okay, I just want to post a review. So that's what we're going to be doing. Today we are going to be reviewing the Flying Fiddles palette from Adept Cosmetics. Now this palette retails for $62, which in the world of indie eyeshadow palettes is not too bad. And I liked how it looked. I really did. It caught my eye because I thought there was quite a bit of neutrals in here, but there was enough like really beautiful shimmers as well that I was like, okay, I could do so many great looks with this palette. Now, I had to Google what is a flying fiddle, and it is one of the most beautiful like irises that I've ever seen. If I had a green thumb, I would attempt to plant these because they're gorgeous. I don't though. My thumb is a plant killer. It is what it is. But this palette definitely seems like the theme is plants. So we have all the names of the eyeshadows, which are names of plants. So I really liked that. I liked that idea. I liked that theme. And I was like, look, I haven't tried a palette from Adept Cosmetics in a long time. Now, I had one palette from them and it's been a while. I decluttered it quite a while ago. And the reason I ended up decluttering it is because I just felt like a lot of the eyeshadows were toppers. They didn't have enough pigment to really stand alone. And I'm hoping that's not the case with this palette. I did watch a couple reviews on it and it seemed like there is a bit of pigment to the shimmers, but we will see. We are going to do some swatches, of course, and then we are going to get into the look. And I think just for the sake of my voice and sanity, so you don't have to listen to me cough on camera, we're just gonna do one look today with this palette, but I might do a short just doing a look with this palette as well because I don't have to talk in those. Sometimes that's a little bit easier right now, but I just wanted to try this palette out. I wanted to revisit the brand to see if it's something that I'm missing out on. I love indie independent brands and I've heard a lot of good things about Adept, so this palette just spoke to me. I love the idea of a palette all named after plants. I like plants even if they don't like me. So let's get into some swatches and then let's do a look with this palette and then let's kind of reconvene and talk about my thoughts on the Flying Fiddles palette. Okay, we're starting to swatch the Flying Fiddles palette. Let's get into it. We have Dahlia. Sorry about my watch band imprint. Tan Toffee Rose. Oh, that's pretty. Meadow Foam. And Aracima? Might not be pronouncing that one right. Daylily. Ooh, so pigmented. Daffodil, Viola Bronze, I believe. And now we have this pretty, whatever you are, Scorpion Grass. Ooh, it's really cool. I love how there's multiple colors in there. You can kind of see them in there too. We have Pom Pom Button. Yellow Bronwyn. Sahara. Honey Spurge, Blue Crown, Rust Bunny, and Green Kelly. Okay, that is the Flying Fiddles palette swatched. Let's check it out on my eyes. Okay, so I have primed this eye with my Give Me Glow eyeshadow primer in the color Parchment, one of my favorite eyeshadow primers. I think they're discontinuing it. I still don't know what's going on with Give Me Glow, but they posted something recently on their Instagram, and it seems like they're just, you know, trying to evolve with the times, and I'm excited to see what they come out with. But I really do hope they keep their eyeshadow primer formula and whatever. It's fantastic. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the Flying Fiddles palette. So there is definitely quite a bit of neutrality in this palette, right? I think most of the mattes you can consider more on the neutral side. We've got the Tan Toffee Rose, the Sahara, the Day Lily, which is a darker neutral. I think Green Kelly would not be described as a neutral color, but it looks like a beautiful dark matte. But we're gonna go ahead and start with Tan Toffee Rose. So this matte up here, and I'm gonna put that all over my upper lid. My voice is actually maintaining better than I thought. Disney World was amazing. This is only my second time going to Disney World. I am in California, so it's a little harder to get to Disney World than it is Disneyland. But it's just such an experience. It's so cool. But apparently it kept my voice, so I'm like the Little Mermaid. Just keep it. Just keep it. I'll be back one day. So watching these shadows, I will say, a little nervous. I think the mattes were really great. They swatched excellently, but I am a little worried that, you know, the whole reason why I haven't bought a palette from them in a while, again, the only palette that I've ever had from them previously, just a lot of toppers. It kind of feels like that may be the case with quite a few of the shimmers. They just seem a little bit more like toppers. Not a whole lot of pigmentation to their base, so they're going on more with kind of like a see-through base. That's a very pretty matte though. I haven't done like a full eyeshadow look, I feel like, in a while. I feel like with Disney World, I was just like trying to hit the ground running. So I was using a lot of singles and just patting them on my eye and then running out the door, you know? It's a little bit crazy. Okay, let's go into Day Lily. I'm gonna put that at the outer ends of my eye. Classic, that's what I normally do. But I do like the feel of these mattes, and they are quite pigmented. Look how pretty that color is. And I'm sorry, I'm trying not to clack my throat, whatever, my throat drop too much. Did I just forget the word for what this is? I did. My brain is not at full working order yet after being sick for like a week and a half. Cough drop. I was looking for the word cough drop. They are, the kind of cough drops that I got are the kind that you don't just eat for fun. They're gross. They're gross, but they help. Okay, that is an absolutely gorgeous matte. Like, that's just really pretty. Those two colors together, very, very pretty. Okay, but obviously, you know what we're here for, right? We're here for the shimmers. It's hard because there's so many I want to use. I really want to use Pom Pom Button. That one was a little bit darker. Let's see. I'm not sure. I think maybe if I put a little bit just kind of on the outer ends and see how that works. It did look like one of the darker shimmers. It definitely has a darker base to it, which I really like. So let's just kind of pat it on. Oh yeah, that's pretty. Okay, yeah, that's a really pretty shimmer. But we do need to investigate some of these other shimmers, because that one I wasn't worried about because it did swatch with the darker base. But some of these have just Some of these are obviously going to be more, you know, with more transparent eyeshadow base to them. So like yellow Bronwyn, it's obviously a lighter color, but let's see, something like Rust Bunny. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put that kind of all over the rest of my eye. And I'm going to go in with my finger. And it's got kind of like a yellow shift to it. It's very pretty, but I do think it's also very light. It's got a little bit of color to the base, but overall I would say it's a lighter color. I actually do think that it's really pretty with those two shimmers together. They just pair really well with each other. They've got a little bit of greeniness. Well, obviously the green one is green, but then the Rust Bunny we just used has a little bit of like a hint of green. It goes very well with green. This is a very fall look that I'm kind of loving quite a bit. Okay, one that I really wanted to go into, I mean, Scorpion Grass, the one in the middle, is obviously very cool. We swatched it. That one was more of a lighter green that I don't think would look good with this look, but I really wanted to go into Dahlia. So in this upper corner here, and I'm just gonna put a little bit on a brush, and I'm gonna use it kind of as like an inner corner highlight. Because it's definitely a multi-chrome. It's got quite a lot of shift to it. But like, it's hard to tell what color it's gonna look on your eyes. It's kind of looking, at least when I'm looking in the mirror, it's looking a little bit peachy. Just gonna kind of like put a little bit underneath the waterline. And one thing with some of these shimmers is that they're very slick. So they're very metallic feeling, and it's those kind of shades to me don't layer well on top of each other. They tend to slip quite a bit. See, that one was really interesting because it looks like it should have more kind of color, more depth to it, but it is very light on the eyes. And on the eyes, what I'm seeing is it kind of looks more peachy. And in the pan, of course, it's gonna look a little different on camera because it is a multi-chrome. It's got like a green shift, and I don't know if you can see that at all, but that green shift that I'm seeing in the pan, I'm not seeing on my eye. Of course, when it comes to multi-chromes, lighting is everything. So maybe if I go outside in the natural light, which it's real overcast right now, it's actually raining, which is very exciting in California, but it's just like I don't really see the same shift that I see in the pan. Is this uncommon in multi-chromes for me? No, to be honest. I find it really hard, sometimes frustrating, to pick up that shift that you're seeing in the pan on your eye as well. It's totally doable, especially if you use a darker eyeshadow base that helps kind of pump up that multi-chrome color, makes it much more apparent. So I may need to do that when I do a short with this palette and just use a really dark eyeshadow base and then kind of look at the multi-chrome that way. But it just looks very peachy pink on my eye. But honestly, like, that's kind of all I want to do. Like a very simple look, but we used 5 of the colors, which is pretty good. So I'm going to do that exact same look on this eye. And then I just want to talk about, you know, my opinion on this palette and if I would recommend it to you or not. So be right back. This is the final look. This is what we ended up with after applying some mascara and eyeliner. And what do we think? What do we think? Let's talk about my feelings on the Flying Fiddles palette from Adept Cosmetics. It's going. I can hear it going. I truly think you can create so many beautiful looks with this palette, especially with the mattes that are in here. Just mixing those mattes with any of the shimmers, it's going to be a beautiful look. And I really like the look that we ended up with today. But I will say, my preference for multi-chromes is still ones that have a slightly darker base to them or slightly more pigment to them. These are definitely lighter. So the majority of these are going to be a lot lighter unless you use a more pigmented eyeshadow primer on your eyes. So I think next time I pull out this palette, I will be using a eyeshadow primer that's either a deep brown or a black in order to really make the multi-chromes in here pop. Now, some of them do have more pigment to them, so Pom Pom Button we saw has a darker pigment to the base, more of a black, so that it really kind of stands out a little bit more. But using Dahlia, using Rest Bunny, those ones just did not have a lot of pigment. So even though they're very beautiful, they are still a little more sheer than what I typically like. But you know what I think this palette would be good for? If you want to do a really bright lip. Normally when I do a very bright lip, I like to go a little more neutral on my eyeshadow just to kind of give the lip a moment, you know? So using the neutrals in here, so the more neutral mattes, and then pairing that up with just one of the shimmers and doing a bright lip, I think would be so beautiful. I think that's probably what I'll end up using this palette for more neutral eyeshadow looks, just so I can play up other parts of my face. Now, it really does come down to what you like in a multi-chrome, what you like in a shimmer. If you like something more pigmented, then this may not be the right choice for you, but if you like things a little more sheer that you can, you know, kind of amp up the color with depending on your eyeshadow base, then this might be the perfect palette for you. I think with all the multi-chromes that are in this palette, $62 is not bad at all. It's a pretty good deal for this palette, and I do really like the quality of all the eyeshadows and how they all performed. They all perform beautifully. But again, like I said earlier, it really comes down to your preference, what you're looking for in an eyeshadow. Do you want something more pigmented or do you want something more sheer? Ultimately, I'm really happy that I picked up this palette and revisited Adept, because I think there's a time and a place for toppers, and this is gonna come in handy again when I'm doing a very bright lip for sure. And I think there's just like a lot that you can do with this palette. Scorpion Grass was definitely more of like a very unique green, and I really liked it. And I don't know how well it fits in with the rest of the palette, to be honest, but I'm excited to use it. I mean, it's gonna go good with the mattes for sure. I think these are great mattes that are gonna go well with any of the colors in here, but I do really wanna use that color. I really do. Overall, it's a really beautiful palette, and on one hand, while I do wish there was slightly more pigment to some of the shimmers, slightly more of a deeper base, I'm excited to continue to play with it to really see what kind of looks I can get out of using the shimmers in this palette, because I think there's just like a wide variety that I'm going to be able to achieve using different eyeshadow bases. And I do really like the look that we came up with today. I think it's really, really pretty, and it's one that I would wear all the time. It's giving me fall vibes. It is definitely winter, it's cold, my voice is gone, but this is reminding me of PSL season. We love a good PSL here. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below if you did. I'm gonna go drink some hot tea and see you in the next video. Bye!